Hi, my name is Allison Edwards, and I am doing a video for my final for class education in STEM using virtual manipulatives. So first, I'd like to talk about our class and what we learned through out the course as far as STEM education and why STEM education is important in our schools and our communities. I feel that our educational communities first need to come together and talk about what STEM actually is. STEM is not actually just science and math classes. Having science and math classes taught in your high school or junior high or elementary, and that's what I feel like when my coworkers and my administrators think of STEM, they think, well, we're teaching science and math, and that's not the case. And we as educators, I feel, need to be the advocates for that information and make sure that everyone is understanding what actually STEM is. And to me, after this course, I feel like STEM is I always think about, like, when people talk about diets, it's not a diet, it's a way of life, and or a lifestyle change. And I feel like STEM is not just a lesson we're going to teach. It's got to be a educational style change. Like, we have to change all across the board. And that goes for our social studies classes, our English classes, math classes, science classes. Everyone needs to get on the same page. And the only way we're going to get on the same page is for all of us to read the page to begin with. So I feel first, the most important part of STEM education is getting the correct facts out there, like what STEM is. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but it's an incorporation. It's more of a way to think about solving problems, not a way to solve problems. So in our society, we are becoming a more technological dependent society. Our children are dependent on technology. They use technology every day, and we're not talking just simply use a laptop in your classroom to have them look up a topic. And that can be a start, but we're looking at so much more. Also, having them use these virtual manipulatives like we learned about in this class, in this course, it's pulling things to help teach the lesson, to help students solve a problem. And I feel like that is one of the key elements of STEM education is problem solving. We're teaching our younger generations to become problem solvers on their own, not just copying vocabulary words or learning facts and dates and social studies. We're talking about trying to get our students to be able to solve problems that maybe we've had in history, that could potentially repeat itself. We're talking about global warming. We're talking about more efficient vehicles. That we need a generation of students and citizens that are equipped with the skills to problem solve in today's world. So that is what I think makes it so important to me to get my fellow coworkers on board with pushing for STEM education and the way to teach STEM education in their classrooms, is because I feel this is a gap that we are trying to fill for our future generations. Like, this is necessary we're doing our students a disservice and future generations a disservice by not changing with the world. I feel there's so many educators in our school systems that are great teachers and mean well and want their students to learn, but are not willing to adapt and change to the way students and way the world is changing. It's like they're just wanting to stay in their little bubble. And testing is a pain. I know I hear lots of my coworkers hate testing. I don't necessarily enjoy it, but because it's more of a stressful situation for me. I have students that test, but I want my students to do well on the test. So I strive to teach my students in a way that's going to benefit them when they take the test. And that's what I feel like we're doing here with our students in the long run. We're taking our this generation and saying, okay, well, what's the best way for them to learn and do well in the real world? Well, it's to teach them this way, not the way that they learned maybe 20 or 30 years ago. And again, the key is problem solving. Having them problem solve not only in science and math. It's easy to problem solve in math because that's what a lot of our context is made from, but it may be harder for an English teacher like myself to have students problem solve when you're reading Romeo and Juliet to a group of ninth graders and incorporating a way to have them problem solve. You do have to be creative, and you have to be aware of that need in your class. And if you aren't made aware of it, then you're less likely to incorporate it into your lessons. So we collaborated with our group to make an egg drop lesson, or create an egg drop lesson for 6th and 7th graders. And we had them first, explore and engage. We use those 5 E's to have students try things, touch things with their hands, drop things from different heights. Also, we use the virtual manipulatives to let them play around with, what mass and volume and density, all of these things are, have them actually play with those things and not just give it to them as like, these are the facts. Like, here, look at this, play with it, see how it works, see how these things change with each other. We also used a graphing manipulative from the National Library of Manipulatives to have them practice graphing. And I cannot tell you how many times I try to work into my biology lessons some sort of line graph or plot chart or something, because data is the basis of our science classes, because that's what they're doing, collecting data to look at something and then possibly solve a problem or engineer something. And here in this lesson, we had them engineer something for an egg drop. And I feel like just being aware of these components of STEM makes us better educators. It makes you aware, like, okay, I need to incorporate these parts into our lesson. I love the lesson. I love the NYSERC website. I've spent days looking at it. With the egg drop lesson, I also took that same lesson and have started incorporating it into a physics lesson for my future physics students this year. I just got a letter in the mail yesterday saying I should prep for biology, chemistry, and physics as far as teaching those classes next fall. And I was super excited to get to use the physics curriculum that I found on NYSERC. And a lot of the activities that we looked in STEM, EDA Explore, I would love to use those in my physics class, and I will definitely be using the egg drop activity in my physics class. I loved collaborating with Jennifer and Carbon. We used all of our different skill sets. We're elementary, middle school, and high school, and they were a lot of help with condensing the class to that 6th and 7th grade level. I have taught 6th and 7th grade before, but it's been a while, and I definitely gravitate more to the older students. But overall, it was a great lesson. I learned a lot from the lesson itself. Also, just look like it's just a fountain of information in that NYSERC database, and I think that all teachers should have the opportunity. I mean, I would have never known that free resources there if I had not taken this graduate class. And next week, when I go to the Teacher Leader Summit, I'm super excited to get to look at all the different things that I can explore. I'm in a biology inquiry hub class that I'm hoping I can work this problem solving STEM education lifestyle change into my education educational curriculum this year. I'm also writing, carpooling with a social studies teacher and 2 English teachers, and I can't wait to tell them some of the things I've learned in this class and hopefully change the mindset of our hallway. I know it starts with one classroom, and hopefully that's mine, and then it'll trickle into the hallway in our school, and then maybe make it into the junior high hallway, and then hopefully in the elementary hallway, and then maybe parish wide. I cannot express how much I feel like our parish is lacking in STEM education, science education. English and math seem to be the only thing that they really focus on or gravitate to as far as professional development. I've been teaching 7 years, and I haven't had professional development that I didn't go out and get on my own since my first teacher workshop when I was hired the first year on. That was the first time and the only time I've had any kind of professional development in my high school English career, or this is my 3rd year biology and have never had any professional development in biology. So I am so appreciative of this class. I feel like it's done wonders for my educational career. I feel like I'm going to really take a lot of this and use it next year and in the future. And I have just enjoyed it immensely. I've enjoyed working with the professor and my classmates, and I hope everyone has a great summer. Thank you.